So imagine delicious, wholesome home-cooked meals ready in just 5 minutes. Sound too good to be true? Well, that's because it is. Because we've got to do just a little bit of meal prep first, and then I promise you're gonna have meals ready in just 5 minutes when you need them. Hey, I'm Sadia, and today we're doing another budget meal prep video. Okay, so this is how it's gonna work. We're gonna spend 1 hour today prepping recipe components that are then gonna be used to make 5 different meals throughout the week. Each recipe serves 2 people, so we'll actually be making 10 meals in total. So I just went out and bought all the groceries, and it came out to just under 30 euros, which is roughly 30 US dollars. And if we do the quick math on that, that means that each meal comes out to under 3 euros per serving. That's not bad in today's economy. So let me give you a quick recap of what I bought. For veggies, we've got carrots, sweet potatoes, a head of cabbage, a cucumber, a lime, and some spinach. For grains, we've got some millet, long grain white rice, and soft flour tortillas. And then additionally, we've got some firm tofu, roasted almonds, coconut yogurt, frozen mixed berries, and a few flavor makers like coconut milk, teriyaki sauce, veggie broth or bouillon cubes, and pickled red onions. Now, in case you can't buy pickled red onions wherever you are, we have a very simple recipe, homemade recipe for this on the website and our app, and I'm gonna link that recipe for you below. And now there are a number of ingredients I didn't need to buy because I already have them. Things like cornstarch and sriracha, peanut butter, and some spices, and maybe you already have those in your pantry too. Now the full grocery list for this meal prep, along with all the prep steps and the full recipes, can be found in a free PDF that I've made for you. I'm gonna link that for you in the description box below. So no need to write anything down, just follow along and let's do some prep together. Now the trick with meal prepping is always to start with a more time-consuming item first, so that way while it bakes or it boils, you can move on to other prep components, which is why we're starting with baking some sweet potatoes. But first, let's start a timer just to see how long this prep actually takes us. So grab your 3 sweet potatoes and use a fork to poke several holes in them. And then once they're on a baking tray, they can go into the oven at 390 Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius for about 50 to 60 minutes or until they're super soft. Of course, the total baking time depends on how big your sweet potatoes are. Mine aren't that big, so 50 minutes should do the trick. Now while those bake, let's cook up some white rice. Either basmati or jasmine works great. And then in a separate saucepan, we're gonna combine half of a cup of millet with about 3.5 cups of veggie broth. Then just let that cook at a gentle simmer for about 25 minutes, covered with a lid. We want the grains to get super soft and porridge-like. Next, let's make the chia jam. So we're gonna microwave about 1 cup of frozen mixed berries, or you could stew them on the stove, and then once they're thawed, mix in about a tablespoon of chia seeds. By the end of the prep, you're gonna see that the chia seeds thicken the stewed berries into this beautiful thick jam. Next, we're gonna make the tofu. Cutting about 600 grams of tofu into cubes. We'll add this to a bowl along with 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch and some salt. Then just give it all a good toss, and then we can fry this up in a pan until it's golden. So I'm using 2 pans here to avoid overcrowding, and that helps the tofu crispen up better. Then once golden, we're roughly gonna divide the tofu evenly into 3 separate containers. In the first container, we're gonna just leave the tofu plain. In the second container, we're gonna make lightly sauced tofu, stirring in 1 tablespoon of teriyaki sauce and 1 teaspoon of sriracha. Then in the third container, we're gonna make the sauciest tofu, stirring in 3 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce and half of a tablespoon of sriracha. Moving on, we're gonna grate 2 carrots and then store these in a container. I recommend covering the carrots in some water just to prevent it from drying out or browning, and then you wanna change out this water every day or 2 to keep it fresh. Then we're gonna shave some cabbage, store that in its own container, and finally we'll chop up and store some roasted almonds. And now for the final prep component, we're making a simple peanut sauce. We're gonna start with adding about 2.5 tablespoons of peanut butter and 2 tablespoons of hot water to a jar, along with half of a tablespoon of teriyaki sauce, the juice from 1/4 of a lime, and a little sriracha. Then just whisk it all up until it's smooth. The sauce is gonna start quite thin at first, don't worry, just keep mixing, it's gonna thicken up. And that's most of the meal prep complete. Just store everything in containers. I'm gonna stop the timer because I'm pretty much done here. It took about 48 minutes for me. The sweet potatoes are still baking though, so I'm just gonna clean up a little bit while I wait. Once the potatoes are fully cooked through, we're gonna leave 2 of them whole. The other one we're gonna peel and roughly chop before adding it into the millet. And voila, meal prep complete. All right, now let's turn what we've prepped into actual meals. And some of these meals are sweet, some are savory, so totally up to you whether you want to enjoy them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And again, my promise is that these meals are gonna come together in about 5 minutes because you've already done all the prep work. So now it's just a quick assembly. Let's begin. I'm gonna start with the millet congee. For this, we're just gonna divide the sweet potato millet between bowls, and then we're gonna top it with a mildly spiced tofu and microwave it until it's warmed through, or you could alternatively just heat it up on the stove. Then we're gonna top it with about 1/4 cup of the grated carrot. Just be sure to squeeze the liquid out of it. And then we're gonna top it with some pickled red onions, and if you'd like, some extra sriracha and optional sliced green onions. Now, usually congee is enjoyed as a savory breakfast, but of course, you can enjoy this any time of day. Next, we're gonna make a loaded sweet breakfast potato. So we're gonna start with slicing our baked potatoes down the middle and then microwaving them just for a couple of minutes to warm them up. But you could also heat them up in the oven if you'd prefer. And then once they're warmed up, we're gonna top each one with some coconut yogurt. We're gonna use up about half of the chia jam altogether. Then we'll drizzle over some peanut butter and top it with about half of the prepped chopped almonds. And lastly, just a pinch of ground cinnamon. Et voila, a hearty breakfast to power you through your morning. For meal number 3, we're making some teriyaki fried rice. For this, we're gonna heat up some oil in a saute pan, and then we're gonna toss in 2 cups of chopped spinach, about 2/3 of a cup of grated carrot, and half of the shredded cabbage. We're then gonna cook this for a couple of minutes for the veggies to soften slightly before we toss in about 3 cups of the cooked rice, all of the plain tofu, 1/3 of a cup of teriyaki sauce, and some sriracha to taste. Day-old rice is always best anytime you're making fried rice because it's drier, it's more firm, the grains stay separated instead of getting all mushy, which is why it's perfect that we prepped it ahead of time. Once it's heated through, we can then divide it between bowls, top it with some pickled red onions, and you can also add some sliced green onion and toasted sesame seeds if you have them. This is a staple recipe that's great to have in your arsenal anytime you've got some leftover rice. This next recipe is a coconut rice porridge. For this, we're gonna combine the remaining about 2 cups of cooked rice in a saucepan with a can equivalent of light coconut milk. We're gonna add some maple syrup and some cinnamon. Cook this at a gentle simmer for about 5 minutes until it's heated through and it's thickened up really nicely. And then we can divide it up between bowls and top it with coconut yogurt, some peanut butter, the remaining berry chia jam, and the remaining chopped almonds. It's super comforting, simple, cozy, delicious, especially, I think, for breakfast. For the final recipe, we're making one of my favorites from the bunch, teriyaki tofu wraps. For this very simple recipe, we're gonna use up all of the peanut sauce that we made, spooning it over the wraps, and then load each wrap with veggies, so some spinach, some grated carrot. And again, just be sure to give it a good squeeze so that you're getting rid of the water. You don't want the wraps to get soggy. And then we're gonna add the remaining shredded cabbage, some cucumber sticks, and all of the saucy teriyaki tofu. Then just roll it up and grill it on a grill pan over medium heat until it's warmed through and lightly toasted on the outside. And that's the final meal. Crunchy, saucy, probably the one I'd be most excited to eat for lunch or dinner. And there you have it. 1 hour of meal prep turned into 5 wholesome, delicious meals. Be sure to grab the PDF that I've made for you if you do want to follow along. The link for that is in the description box below. And you're gonna have some leftover ingredients. So for example, if you're wondering, how do I use up the leftover red cabbage? You can actually use the search feature in our app to find recipes that do use it up. In case you're curious and want to try out our app, you can try 7 days for free. The link for that is in the description box as well, or you can scan this QR code right here. And hey, thanks so much for hanging with me today, friends. I really appreciate it. Pickup Limes signing off, and I'll see you in the next video. Or you could actually, that was a pretty epic fail, yeah. We have to wait. That was way too hot to handle. Literally hot potato. Too hot to handle. Isn't that a TV show?
Yeah, it is.
But it's just still too hot. I want to move on. I can do it. Oh my God, it's too hot. I can't do it. I was looking everywhere for it. I was like, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Shit. Did you see that?
Yeah.
They stay separate. Oosh. Oops.